Name a more underrated light cruiser at tier 7. Go ahead, I'll wait. My biggest question I get is, why is there a Belfast 43? There was already a Belfast at tier 6. And to answer that, we can look at the stat differences of the ship. The tier 7 version of the ship is going to have more health and a better firing range. The reload is a little bit slower, but that's okay. It's made up for the fact by getting more HE shell damage and 30 millimeters of armor pin, and that is a very important threshold up here at tier 7. B-43 also gets torpedoes, while the original version of the ship does not. Now the consumables are also a lot different. B-43 gets short duration smokes, and you get 6 of them. It's like a British tech tree destroyer. So you can smoke more often, just not as long. When it comes to setting her up, the turret traverse is pretty slow, so I might recommend turret module in slot 1. Brit cruisers have prop mods built in, so do rudder in slot 2, and conceal and reload. My commander is Bruce Fraser, and this is an entirely free-to-play build with Makawa and Mimbelli. And the reason I want Bruce is because of the fire chance. Belfasts are the only British light cruisers that have access to high explosive shells. So with Bruce Fraser, we can buff it the fire chance an additional 5%, and that is pretty helpful. Other than that, it's a DPM commander, and that is perfect for these ships as well. And Bruce Fraser's base trait to improve your speed a little bit is actually very helpful because the Belfasts are not fast at all. If you're looking for a unique build, you might look into Reginald Tyrwhitt because he has Smogathon as a legendary skill, and basically it means that you can have permanent smokes throughout the whole game. The smokes are going to reload so quick that basically you can just smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke. It's really annoying to play against. I just have to throw that out there. So if you are looking to kind of be a thorn in the side of the enemies, it is a fun build. You give up a lot for it, but hey, memeing around sometimes is more fun than being such a try-hard sweat. The other thing we need to talk about is the armor of the Belfast, because this could be the most squishy cruiser at tier 7. If not, it's pretty freaking close because you have 16 millimeters of armor basically everywhere. And that is light armor even by tier 6 standards. That and the Citadel is above the waterline a little bit, and it's just massive. So these are very squishy ships. Be warned, if you are looking at getting the Belfast and bringing her to your port, yeah, don't say I didn't warn ya. Game number 1 is on Sleeping Giant, and this can be a really interesting map, especially for us in the Belfast 43 because it's immediately decision time. Should I rush around the corner here and try to make it into the Thunderdome at A, or should I play in between A and B and be a little more cautious? And what that's going to come down to is knowing which ship can beat me around this corner. Belfast 43 is not very fast. Even with Bruce Fraser and a speed flag, we're cooking here at like 33 knots if I don't touch the rudder at all. So looking at the boards and knowing what ships, especially battleships, could beat me around the corner is very important. And those ships would be the Georgia, the Lafooter, the Rook, I believe. Man, I don't know anything about the Rook. Good grief. If it's a destroyer that beats me around the corner, oh man, I hope it is. I'm licking my lips because that'll be a destroyer that I can wipe off the board immediately and they won't really be able to do anything about it. Now, the bad thing about this is we're put into this predicament because we spawned on the weak flank, and this happens in a lot of games where there are carriers. And fun fact, we played 2 B-43 games to get you guys this recent review here. And it happened to us in both games where we're on the weak side. We just spawn with one other battleship. That is it. So if that player's AFK, you know, they're getting their Totino's Hot Pockets out of the microwave, their controller battery's dead or something like that, you're literally on your own. And that is kind of annoying. What I would like to see is the mid spawn where you have 3 ships and a carrier. Is that necessary? Why don't we put one of those ships on the weak side and just have 2 ships spawn with the carrier? I don't know. Am I being crazy here? Is that wild and wacky? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. This seems to be very prevalent, and I'm not complaining, but it happens to me a lot. And that's okay. We're going to make some lemonade because life's given us lemons right now. Now we have stealthily made it into the cap here. We're going to start capping. Their destroyer got on B cap very early, and that is awesome. I wish our destroyer would have done that as well. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and pop our sonar just in case their DD torped this way because they know I'm on the cap. And we'll go ahead and pop that radar. Now, the ZF6 is positioned really, really well to where no one's going to be able to hurt him. He probably already suspected the ship that was coming into A cap here. So good on him. And once again, our teammates in the mid spawn, being behind that island there, I just can't think of a worse position to be in a battleship. Anyways, though, we're going to go ahead and start our farming, and I'm not too worried about that radar because we have fully packed, and we get 2 more throughout the match, so that's okay. We scared the DD away from here, and our destroyer, you know, that would have been a good opportunity for him to get into B cap or something like that. But anyways, we'll be able to farm from here from safety. Now, the title of my video, contrary to popular belief, I try to put a lot of thought into the title. I'm not going to ever write anything down that I can't rationalize, at least in my own mind. And maybe that is a skewed view of the world, man. You know, we all have these, the ways that we view things, all of us, and sometimes it could be correct and sometimes incorrect, so if I'm wrong, tell me. But when I go through the list of tier 7 light cruisers, most of them fall into 2 categories for me. One, they're either stupid powerful, or they're pretty darn weak. Cleveland, Mines, Weimar, Plymouth. I mean, some of the most powerful ships in the game are light cruisers, and honestly, I would argue that the best ships in the game, if you're a good player, are light cruisers. If you're a good Minotaur player, then yeah, I mean, you're going to have a really good chance at affecting the outcome of the game because you have crazy DPM. You usually have tools like radars and sonars and things like that. I really do think a light cruiser is the most powerful ship in the game if you're a good player. But yeah, going through that list again, Edinburgh, Shimanto, Kuchezov, I would put those under those first 4 that I mentioned as also being very, very good. Azerlane Shabayev, we don't even have to mention that. That is the most broken ship at tier 7. Along with Mine CE, Summer CE, blah, 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 blah. I'll stay off my soapbox about these ships that people spam that are really annoying. But, and then the second category of light cruisers are ships that just aren't that good. And in that category, I would probably put the Bayard, the Montpellier, the Harbin, although that might catch some flack. I don't think the Harbin is that good, although she is fun to play because she's challenging. But the Belfast 43, I don't ever see this ship out very much. Now, we're going to be seeing more of them now that she came back for the 5-year birthday, but I don't see this ship out, and we should, because this thing is really, really freaking good. This is an amazing ship. I mean, smoke, radar, sonar, you get all of it. You get torpedoes, you get amazing DPM, 1/5 pin. I could go on. It is squishy, and then that is the reason that right now we are taking evasive maneuvers. There is a battleship pushing us here. We dropped some torps. You can see that even though we have torps, they're really only for defense because look at these firing angles. They are not good at all. Now we're going to go ahead and smoke. We have a really good smoke firing penalty. We landed all 3 torps on the Rook. And while I wasn't really paying attention to this at the time because I didn't want to beach, he is flooding out. So this radar here that I'm about to do wasn't worth it. I shouldn't have wasted this radar in particular, but I wanted to continue shooting him from smoke, which is, again, another super powerful thing about the Belfasts. You can smoke and you can radar your prey and continue to shoot them and deal damage from the comfort of your smoke, and it's amazing. Our destroyer is now heading back the other way. Oh dear God, help me. Oh God, help me. I don't know why. If the destroyer behind me and the battleship would have continued around the corner, then they would have curb stomped the Enterprise within the next couple of minutes. But anyways, so we got the cap, we got the Rook. We're going to come back to the middle. I'm still curious where the ZF6 is, but if he knows I'm here and I'm a radar cruiser, I doubt he's sticking around. He's probably over on C and D cap, but we're going to be able to farm down the Tirpitz. So I am grateful for the teammates wherever they are. It might be the carrier, the battleship, or maybe the DD is back there spotting him now, but either way, we'll be able to farm out the Tirpitz. And unfortunately, we're going to catch some attention from the Enterprise, which is a super dangerous ship, to the Belfast. If you noticed, I was the only cruiser on my team, and their Azerlane Shabayev was the only cruiser on that team, and that of course is because most of the players just play battleships nowadays. The Enterprise is a very, very deadly carrier when it comes to squishy cruisers. We're going to try to back up here a little bit. Keep backing up. We dodged the torpedo. That's great. But the AP bombs from the Enterprise, while they're pretty mediocre, they're amazing against cruisers. And Belfast 43 doesn't have very good AA DPS. I think it's 207, which is going to put it in, oh my gosh, like 27th place or something really terrible out of nearly 40 cruisers at tier 7. Don't hold me to that. I'm not seeing my notes when I say that. It's bad. It's not good AA. So if carriers want to, attack you, dumpster you, they definitely can. You have your smokes to hide behind, and that's going to help you. And typically I would say, hide behind teammates and use their AA bubbles. But my response to that is, what teammates? What teammates am I going to hide behind? Yeah, at least you have your smokes. That will kind of help keep you safe from the carriers. Now, you can see here, the Lafooter he's going to be faster than us. He's going to get around this corner, and we're going to be in a really delicate situation. But I feel like it's something that we just have to do. We can't stay over here on A forever, because this game isn't going well. They have a triple caps on us, and they are hunting down our carrier right now as we speak. So I'm going to come out here. No, I take that back. Our carrier's dead. They're hunting down our battleship out past our spawn there. Anyway, so we're going to head into the middle, try to get the B cap, try to support our Benson here, and then see if we can gun down the Lafooter. These guns are pretty devastating against lightly armored battleships, and then the fire chance being 16%, I mean, it is really good. You can rack up a lot of damage in the Belfast 43. I think I figured the HE DPM as top 10. We won't get too in depth there just in case I say it wrong, but it is top 10. It's like under the Suzuya. It is right there with the Azerlane Montpellier. It's really, really good. And it has 1/5 pin, so you're actually going to deal pin damage. And, that HEDPM number is actually going to matter. We dodged the Enterprise's torpedoes there. They are, the slowest CV dropped torpedoes in the entire game. And we get our first look at the Enterprise. Now, in this game, I was using aiming systems, and it definitely shows. Look at this turret traverse. If the turret traverse were a little faster, I could have turned right here instead of left. And that's the direction I need to be going. We need to be heading that way to spot the carrier and to head for C and B and the protection of those islands. You don't really want to be out here in the middle of the open with enemies on both sides. That is a very dangerous proposition for Belfast. So I would definitely either find a commander with Ingenious. If you don't want to use Bruce Fraser, that's okay. Or use the turret module in slot 1. It would help you out a lot. Either way, though, we're going to get the turrets to the left. And he's coming back with AP bombers, and that is very dangerous. Now, I desperately want the destroyer to go get on one of the caps over there. That would be the most helpful thing right now. Because a destroyer, he looks like a stock Benson. What's a gun range on stock Benson? 9.5, 10 kilometers maybe at best. If you have it upgraded, I don't know, 10.5. It's going to take him a really, really long time to run down that Enterprise. And it's true, Enterprise can't do a lot about a Benson because you're not going to get hit by those slow torpedoes, and the AP bombs just overpin. But, I mean, it would definitely take the Benson twice the amount of time that's left in the game to hunt down and kill the Enterprise. But anyways, he's going for it, so I'm going to go for C cap. It would be nice to set a fire on the Enterprise. I don't know if we end up getting one here, but either way, we're going for C cap. We'll smoke up, try to get the cap because we're down by so many points, and then we can work on trying to get back over here and maybe kill the ZF6. And yeah. 3 minutes left in the match. It's really not looking that great, but we are going to do our best. So on top of the awesome DPM, having the torpedoes, I mean, the consumables are really, really good and kind of slept on. The sonar, when you actually look into the statistics of it, it's second only to German ships at tier 7. It has a 5-kilometer ship detection. I mean, that's way better than anything else you're going to find, as the Enterprise absolutely just dumpsters us. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh boy. She has her moments, and now that these hybrid battle cruisers aren't gumming up the works so much and there's going to be cruisers maybe back out, I think the Enterprise is going to come into her own, and I'm really glad they didn't buff her anymore. My goodness. So we're going to try to smoke up get in the cap and continue to gun the Enterprise down, although our gun range isn't enough that we're going to be able to kill him. And I'm stopping short here, and that's partially because the Belfasts have a really bad reputation about floating on through smoke screens, and I just can't let that happen right now. We have to go dark if we want to get this cap. So yeah, I was a little slow on getting the cap because I just wanted to make sure I didn't sail through my smoke screen. This is the biggest noob mistake. Every St. Paddy's Day, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Everyone gets their new Belfasts, smoke up, slam on the brakes, and then they sail right through the smoke screen and usually get dev struck. So we have 38 seconds left. Unfortunately, we only have 13 seconds of smoke left. And that is something that usually catches me off guard. This is the only cruiser in the game that has such short duration smokes. I'm wondering if ZF6 is here close by, but when we get spotted again, I tell you what is close by, and that's the Enterprise. He's been hovering his squadrons around me, and there's just not going to be anything we can do further in this game, and that is that. GG's to everyone involved, especially Red Team. You guys played a good one. That was a fun B-43 match. It's a little tragic. That is just one of the bad things about not playing in divisions at higher tiers, or maybe any tier in the game, but without a good proper team support, a light cruiser like this can be really hard to play. And here we go. We spawned on the weak side again with the CV. We're 2 for 2 on that, baby. Now, the ship with me this time is a Nelson, and I think Nelson plays a pretty good game here. I don't have anything bad to say about that, except for taking off the perm camouflage for that. That's an interesting choice. Actually, I kind of like those brick camos. They're pretty cool. Anyways, so we're going to head out to the flank once again. Since there's no DD with us, we are the destroyer because we have amazing concealment, and that is one of the great things about Belfast. It has one of the best concealments at tier 7, and our build, it's actually 9.6 kilometers, and that is beautiful. We can almost stealth radar, which is the most coveted thing that a cruiser can do in World of Warships. Stealth radar. If your radar range is longer than your concealment range, then it means anytime you're spotted, all you have to do is hit your radar and boom, the destroyer, typically, which is outspotting you, is going to be in your radar range and they are going to be spotted. So it is very, very powerful. Belfast 43 can't quite pull it off because she only has a 9 kilometer radar. It is better than the original Belfast radar, which is only 8.5, I think. But yeah, 9 kilometer radar, and it's going to last for 30 seconds. So just 0.6 of a kilometer that we can't quite stealth radar. But if you are going fast enough in a straight line towards the destroyer that spots you and you pop your radar, it's very possible that, you know, in that 0.6 of a kilometer, you can still get them spotted and deal a lot of damage. But yeah, these consumables are awesome. I don't think I finished about the sonar, but it has a 5 kilometer ship detection range, and that is even better than the broken Plymouth, which I like to complain about at tier 7 as well, because that ship is just ridiculous. I mean, 9.9 kilometer, 40-second radar. It has everything, basically. One thing it doesn't have, though, you do have to give up your smoke for the radar, which is great, and Belfast, we get to keep it. Now, this ship over here, the Baltimore, usually when you're in a light cruiser, and you see the Baltimore, this can mean trouble because the Baltimore has pretty good 27 mils of armor, and it can shrug off a lot of your HE spam. Well, that is not the case for Belfast 43. Our destroyer is in an interesting spot here. Yeah, he's in a very interesting spot. One time I watched a T-Bull video, and T-Bull said, "What is the one battleship that you don't want to rush in a destroyer?" King George V. And then T-Bull proceeds to yeet a full health destroyer. Oh my gosh, I wish I could find that video. It is the best T-Bull video I've ever watched. And T-Bull yells "he gone" at the top of his lungs. I think blew my speakers out of my earbuds. Yeah, great. Anyway, so our DD thought that was a good play. Let's come across the middle of the map and go ahead and rush a KGV. And T-Bull there on his alt account just sent him to Pound Town. Anyways, though, Baltimore here. Since we get 30 mils pin, we can damage this guy anywhere. We can pin him basically anywhere except his armor belt. So we're going to try to use this island, and we are going to thank our lucky stars that Nelson is over here spotting for us, because if Nelson didn't play his side, since we're on the weak side, we would have been completely completely alone. But we have a very squishy Colorado with 25 mils of armor, and then a Baltimore with 27, and we're just going to be able to pummel them here and deal quite a bit of damage and hopefully rack up some fires as well on both of them. So thank you, Nelson, for playing your side. You are a Chad. You are a real one. Now, you might notice I haven't shot the AP at all, maybe one time against the Enterprise, and it's because it's not really that good. If you've played the Edinburgh or the Minotaur and all of those ships, so the AP is amazing, and it's because they have short fuse timers. I think Belfast and Belfast 43, they just have the normal .033 fuse timers, and it's just not that good. It's not going to be very good. You're basically going to need to have really good broadsides, flat broadsides that someone's giving you, and maybe even lightly armored ships at closer range to be worth it at all. No, I mean, with the good HE pen and the 16% fire chance, I would just spam HE all day in the B43, and then the tier 6 Belfast maybe switch back and forth a little bit more since her HE is not near as strong. Colorado is the dream. It is the ultimate battleship to farm out if you're in a tier 7 match. I love the Colorado. I know a lot of people hate it because she's so slow, but I really enjoyed playing that ship, honestly. You just play at farther ranges and use the great maneuverability and the accurate guns. But man, they are fun to shoot at, I have to say. Now, speaking of the maneuverability, Belfast's is not good. She's pretty sluggish. She doesn't want to start that well, and she really doesn't want to stop, like I talked about earlier. You have to be very careful about how far you can glide in these ships, and that's not it. 32.5 knots, that is slow for a tier 7 cruiser. Now, Fraser helps it a little bit, and so does the speed flag, but still, you're going to be pretty slow. What she does have going for her, though, is a 680 meter turning circle. That is pretty amazing, tied for 6th place at the tier, with ships like the Wichita and the Amalfi ? I've never understood that. Amalfi is like the longest cruiser ever. I don't understand why she has such a good turn circle. Okay, Balti, Colorado, our Nelson is doing a lot of damage to them. We're going to come around and help. And I don't really intend to do this because it's really a double yoink, but we're going to pick up the double strike here. I mean, maybe it's not a yoink. We dealt 80,000 damage to these guys, didn't we? Yeah, all right. Well, we got the double strike. As you can see, though, our team is falling apart, just crumbling, like really crumbling. Basically, it's me and Nelson versus the world. Oh boy, what's going to happen? Again, shout out to Nelson, the only teammate that I had in this game. Oh, brother. But yeah, you can see this nice little turning circle. It's very good. What is surprisingly slow on Belfast, though, is her rudder shift time. It's 9.9 seconds. Now, most light cruisers, you get behind the wheel and it's like a little Miata, you know, you're just whipping. But that is not the case in Belfast. She has a pretty unresponsive rudder. It takes some getting used to, I would say, to drive the Belfast, but once you do, honestly, you're going to do just fine, and she is a ton of fun. So, red team, dominant red team, Chad's over there, they are taking control of the map. They're taking B cap, so we're just going to sail up and basically try to have some more fun and pad my stats. Usually in a situation like this, just pad your stats. I mean, don't drag it out. You're not going to win, most likely. Definitely don't sail to the edge of the map because that is really, really silly and not very fun for anyone. So we're going to sail up here, see if we can catch a destroyer with their pants down maybe, and yeah, just have a little bit of fun. Now, on top of Belfast being a really good ship in the game and a lot of fun, this is actually one of my favorite historical ships, and I was lucky enough to go visit her last fall in London. She is moored on the River Thames right by the Tower Bridge. It's a cool little area of London. You can visit the Tower of London where the crown jewels are on that stuff. Go over the Tower Bridge and be right there by the Belfast, and you can see all of that awesome stuff in like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long you take with your tours and with your walking, or how much Starbucks coffee you drank before that and how much energy you have. I think the day that we did all of that touring, it was literally, we didn't sleep on the airplane, landed, and without any sleep at all, just set our suitcases down and then started touring London, and it was so much fun. Zero sleep. Who cares? It was a blast. Just the history of it all is insane. You're sailing down the River Thames on a little sightseeing boat and you look left and you're like, oh my God, that's Shakespeare's theater. It's crazy. And, you know, as a dumb, uncultured American, I would absolutely recommend it. But yeah, seeing the Belfast in person was a blast. It's just amazing. You know, here you're looking at this game on this game screen. Look at this tiny little light cruiser. You know, it's so cute. It just, you know, it's so delicate. But then standing on the ship, I mean, these things are massive. You could fit 15 or 20 men in one of those turrets alone. It's very awe-inspiring and pretty crazy. Now, the other question to answer, why is it called Belfast 43? Well, from my limited understanding of history, so Belfast was launched on St. Paddy's Day, 1938, and that is why the Belfast comes back every year for St. Patrick's Day. She was commissioned and really didn't get to do a whole lot in her original configuration because she ran into a mine pretty early on. And, you know, most thought that she was just going to be sold for scrap. But she underwent a giant restoration for like 2 years, I think, that she was getting fixed or repaired or whatever. And she came back, and then she served in 1943, and she was actually one of the ships that helped sink the Scharnhorst. So that explains the two different configurations of the ship, this one being the more modern, refitted version. We got the P-bag there. That's nice. We are going to take this torp. We're dodging torps left and right. The Georgia flooded out or burnt out. I don't even remember how I got that kill. But at this point, I mean, you know, the last stand at the Alamo, it's over. There's a Jaeger back there. There's a DD in front of us. There's the carrier dropping us. There's a Bismarck closing in. It's just a tragic, tragic day. Cue the Titanic soundtrack because we are about to get yeeted into outer space. But yes, the Belfast 43, this is one of my favorite Tier 7 cruisers, I have to say. Although going forward in the future, now that I don't have to review her for you guys, I'm probably going to choose to play her in a division just because this is so much pain. This is so much pain. It needs a little bit of support. Honestly, you know, you have to have someone spotting for you, someone tanking for you, or just someone alive, you know, in general, someone that can hold the controller. That would help. But yeah, great ship. I would recommend it, especially right now for the 5-year birthday. I mean, 6,500 drachmas, you can pick the ship up very, very cheap. You can check the comments down below if you would like to know more about that. And yeah, we ran into an island we're getting bombed by. I think it is a Lexington this time and not an Enterprise, or we might already be dead. But look away, children. As Derka gets yeeted. At least we picked up the Kraken and we got a double strike. I'm happy with that. That's cool. What more can you ask for in a game like this? And I think stats-wise, I know in last game we outscored basically all of the red team on a loss. How do we do in this one? Well, yeah, we outscored most of the red team on that one as well. Anyways, GG's to everyone involved. This is Derka signing off. See ya.